Hi. Today in this video I will tell you a trucker horror story. The title of the story is The Midnight Hauler. I hope you will enjoy this video. So let's start the video. James Caldwell had been driving trucks for over 15 years, but tonight was different. The highway stretched out before him, a ribbon of asphalt swallowed by darkness. He wasn't new to long hauls or strange tales. He had heard them all. But nothing could have prepared him for what lay ahead. He was halfway through a cross-country route, cutting through the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. It was a winding, lonely stretch of road known as Devil's Pass, notorious for its treacherous turns and chilling tales. The radio crackled with static as he switched through channels, trying to find some company on the road. "Dispatch, this is 52 to 11, he said into the CB radio. "How's the weather up there?" "Clear skies and smooth sailing, Caldwell," came the response, though the voice was faint, as if struggling through a dense fog. "Just keep an eye out for that weird spot a few miles up. We've had some unusual reports." James chuckled, dismissing it as just another trucker's tall tale. He had a load of cargo for a remote warehouse and couldn't afford to slow down now. As the clock ticked past midnight, the only sounds were the hum of the engine and the occasional groan of the old truck. Then, without warning, the truck's lights flickered. James cursed under his breath and pulled over, checking the connections. Everything seemed fine, but the air felt colder, heavier. As he resumed driving, a strange mist began to roll in, obscuring the road ahead. Suddenly, the headlights revealed something impossible: an old-fashioned truck, battered and rusted, creeping alongside him. Its driver was obscured by the mist, but James could see the shadowy figure in the cab, its head bent low. James' heart raced. "This is 52 to 11. You there, buddy? What's your location?" No response. The old truck sped up, pulling even with James' rig, then slowed, as if to taunt him. James' unease turned to anxiety. He tried to speed up, but the old truck matched his pace perfectly. A flicker of movement caught his eye. The figure in the old truck straightened, revealing a face so pale and hollow it seemed to glow faintly. The eyes, black pits of nothingness, locked onto James with a gaze that chilled him to the bone. James slammed his foot on the gas, but the old truck remained beside him, its driver staring with an almost predatory intensity. The mist thickened, swirling around them like a living entity. The road seemed to warp and twist, and James felt a sinking sensation as if the ground beneath was shifting. Desperate, he reached for the CB radio. "Dispatch. I need help, now." Static. Only static answered him, louder and more insistent. The old truck's horn blared a haunting, discordant tune, drowning out everything else. James' hands shook as he fought to keep the truck on course. In a burst of panic, he veered off the road, crashing through the trees, hoping to escape the relentless presence. The old truck followed, its headlights piercing through the fog as if guided by some malevolent force. He came to a sudden stop, his truck wedged between the trees. The old truck pulled up beside him, its engine rumbling with a dark, guttural growl. The figure in the cab emerged, stepping into the mist. James could barely see the figure clearly, but the air grew colder, and an oppressive silence enveloped them. James staggered out of his truck, his breath forming clouds in the icy air. The figure approached, each step echoing with an unnatural resonance. As it drew closer, James saw the driver was not just a ghostly apparition but an amalgam of horror's features, twisted and shifting, eyes hollow pits of despair. In a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, the figure spoke. "You're not supposed to be here. This road. It claims those who travel it at night. James tried to back away, but the mist closed in around him. The old truck's headlights flared, casting long, sinister shadows. The figure reached out, its hand brushing against James' shoulder, sending a shock of ice through his veins. With a blinding flash, the mist dissipated. James found himself alone in the darkness. The old truck and its driver vanished as if they had never been. His own truck, miraculously undamaged, sat silent and still. Shaken, James clambered back into the cab, his hands trembling as he restarted the engine. He drove the rest of the way in a daze, his thoughts racing. When he finally reached the warehouse, he was met with puzzled looks and concerned questions from the warehouse staff. No one believed his story. They spoke of the old tales and warned of the dangers of Devil's Pass. But James knew the truth: there was something far darker on that road, a malevolent force that claimed those who ventured into its domain. From that night on, he avoided Devil's Pass. Whenever he saw a truck with an eerie, rusted appearance, he would shudder, remembering the ghostly figure and the chilling night when the midnight hauler had come for him.